We march, we move, as we do, chat. Let's get through this rest of the season. Again, as your team is still 2 games above the Mariners, I'm at 38 wins. Let's see how this season wraps up for our 2 clubs. And, of course, the offseason draft lottery is always going to be interesting. 56 and 78 for the A's. 1 win above the Mariners. Only 50 wins for the Mermen. So the Mermen right now, I'm ahead of the Rockies. Jesus Christ. I'm ahead of the Rockies. He's an 89. He's an 89. I will forever be devastated that I didn't get to draft this guy. And we're talking about 6 more years at best before I can sign him as a free agent. Fuck. Well, we continue then. We'll auto-fix the rosters as we do. And we'll see how the 2028 season wraps up for our 2 clubs. Obviously, the minor league ball clubs will probably never make the playoffs. Let's see. So, the A's finish with a 67 and 95. Right? You know. That is a pretty good record for you guys. 56 and 106 for the Mermen. Definitely the best regular seasons our 2 teams have had. The playoffs will be Texas and Houston, Detroit and Boston, New York and LA, the Anaheim Angels of Anaheim, of Los Angeles of Angels, St. Louis, Cincy, Pittsburgh, Philly, Atlanta, and LA back in the playoffs. How far down? Well, obviously look at our team stats and all of that too. In terms of the standings, I finished with 56 wins, the worst record in the NL. So I had the worst record in baseball. You guys had 67 wins though. Technically ahead of Seattle, Chicago, and Kansas City. Decent little season for the A's. Terms of the stats from my fellas. 152 hits for Kim, now down to an 87. Glaber had some injury trouble again. Gomez had a pretty good year. 26 home runs for Glaber, 22 for Rengifo. These 2 have both been much better than I ever would have expected. 70 RBIs for Glaber. 863 OPS for Glaber. Not bad. Pitching-wise, 9 wins for the reliever, Felipe Gonzalez. If that doesn't get you up to a C potential, what the hell will? Of course, I had to have Dakota Hudson as an autofiller. 19 losses for Luis Garcia. Yikes. Did have 167 strikeouts, though. Kikuchi with a team worst 5.73 ERA. Okay. What about for Chat's A's? Ooh, you're going to have an award winner this year. Top hitter, Juan Soto with 182 total hits. Gavin Lux, dude, he's gone up 6 overall points since you guys signed him. He's now an 88. He is loving life in Vancouver. Holy hell. I'd be shocked if you didn't get a trade offer for him and cash out on that. You've developed him really well. 39 home runs for Soto, 33 for Vladdy, 23 for Lux, and 21 for the rando spring training signing, J.P. Crawford. Both Soto and Guerrero up there in RBIs. Crawford was 3rd on the team. Both over a 9 OPS for Soto and Guerrero. 856 for Lux. Jeff Adams keeps getting worse. Wow. Pitching-wise, 12 wins for Brad Keller. Jim David had 10 as a rookie, though. As did Christensen, who did fracture his wrist. That's a shame. 16 losses for Dylan Cease, but also had over 200 innings and 232 strikeouts. 2.62 ERA. Cease might have won the Cy Young. Those strikeouts and that ERA. That's my guess for your award winner. Is Dylan Cease. Not actually who it was. AL MVP goes to Corey Seager. Soto finished 2nd. Logan O'Hop, the O'Hoppy, was 3rd. Soto very close to winning MVP, but it goes to Seager in consecutive years. NL MVP, Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, because you know he was pitching too. NL Cy Young goes to Chris Paddock. What a season for him, my God. 245 strikeouts for Hunter Green, though. AL Cy Young goes to Mackenzie Gore. Yeah. Batting titles to J-Rod. Julio Rodriguez with a 323 average and Nathaniel Lowe. Reliever of the year, David Bednar. Yeah. Stats-wise, it makes sense. AL reliever of the year, Andrew Wantz. What does Andrew Wantz? I got to be honest, I would have given it to JoJo. 1 fewer save, ERA is slightly worse, but 20 more strikeouts for JoJo Romero. I think JoJo got robbed. Rookie of the year, Richie Hood in Detroit. Over Trey Morgan and Bryant Wheat. And on the NL side, AJ Smith-Shawver. Hank Aaron Award winners, though, you may have seen it's Corbin Carroll and Juan Soto. Does win the Hank Aaron Award. Any winners for Gold Gloves this year? Not looking like it. You hate to see it. All right, well, pretty much does it then for this season. Let's see how the playoffs go. See who wins the World Series. You got Houston over Texas. Boston advances, as do the Cardinals and Pirates. The Pirates in the NLDS. As the Yankees and Angels both advance, as do the Braves and the Dodgers. Yankees, Angels, Braves, Dodgers. Your final four. The Dodgers have made it back to the World Series. This time against the Angels. Come on, Mike Trout. The Ohtani Bowl in the World Series. And the Dodgers win the World Series. Oh, poor Mike Trout. Game 7 as well. Oh, you hate to see it. Is Trout even... Did they trade... No, okay. They didn't trade Trout to the Reds, but he is 36. It was probably his last shot. Again, they did end up with Ellie De La Cruz. Pretty damn good team, but... The Dodgers win another one after adding Adley in the offseason. What a stupid team. They did backload for Adley. 46 across the board for Shohei. They backloaded for Bieber. Flat for Mookie. Bobby Miller doesn't make much. Outman does. Oh, they're about to get destroyed. Helsley, they backloaded. Yamamoto was the same. Garcia's not getting paid that much yet. Backloaded for Steven Kwan. Yeah, they got $27 million of Glasnow coming off the books. That's, honestly, it's probably my most intriguing aspect of franchise mode this year, is just to see what the hell the Dodgers do in every franchise with how they manage the money. Kerry Carpenter wins World Series MVP. It's back-to-back for the Dodgers, by the way. Kerry Carpenter, World Series MVP. I can't check their exact payroll. You can go to the budget tab, but then you can't change teams unless it's between the two of our teams. So I don't know exactly what their financial situation is. But we will go to yet another off season. Retired players. Oh, not the Schlittler. And yeah, Liam Hendricks retired. Nobody overly important. Do we have any Hall of Famers in 2028? We don't. The game seems to be way more selective this year. For you guys, Lucia or Loisiga and Taylor, 2.9 and 5.7. If you got rid of Taylor, you wouldn't have a center fielder aside from Mike Yastrzemski. So it's overpaying Tyrone Taylor. But if you do overpay him, your team looks a hell of a lot better. Really, the only thing that you're missing right now is a good left fielder and a good catcher. And aside from that, you at least have filler players and you're not rocking like someone in the 50s. So, for Jonathan Lasagna, as chat deemed him, he had a good year last year. There's really no reason to not pick him up at 2.9. Tyrone Taylor, it's overpaying him. It is. Definitely overpaying him. Projected surplus right now is $25 million. But obviously the budget is continuing to get cheaper every year because of these front-loaded deals. So $30 million in available budget right now. You should be able to take Taylor for another year. Or, in fairness, you could decline the options and then just try to sign him for cheaper. That's also allowed. You should have the money to go after a big-time free agent, though. Should. Maybe not someone who's going to command $40 million a year, but that's because you invested in Soto and Vladdy. So, you do have that decision to make. I need all the new staff in the world. I say yes and accept on the pitcher. All right, it seems to be so far an accept on the pitcher and then try to renegotiate, which is fair. Mr. Dave Roberts, how would you like to come back here? I would love to keep you in Atlantis. I also need a first base coach and a farm director. Andreas Novoa, how would you like to come back? I'm pretty sure you were my last first base coach. And for farm director, Dino Ebel, drag bunting. Speed and power is nice. Let's go for Alex Morales. Yeah. Mr. Morales, see if you sign. Did I have any free agents? I did not. So accept on Lasagna, decline on Taylor. So Taylor now, you could get it 3.5. You know, I mean, it's certainly less than the 5. You could save about $2 million on him. Again, it kind of sucks to overpay him, but you know, if you want to field a somewhat competent team, you are going to need to overpay him a little bit to give your team a fighting chance. So $4 million even. So you save over $1 million by declining that option. Any disagreements? It is only for 1 year as well. Like I said, it shouldn't cost you too much in free agency. It depends on who's available and what they're asking for. I don't think this is the deal that makes or breaks you in free agency. So we'll see if he takes it. Morales is on. Novoa's back. Dave Roberts elected to go to Minnesota. What? You turned down Atlantis for Minnesota? That doesn't make sense. Don't I have enough water for you here? What are you doing? Anyway, Roberto Rodriguez might have to be my manager instead. Or David Gund, because it's a -3 to bunting. Mr. Gund. Like the Gund Arena in Cleveland back in the day. See if he accepts. And it does look like you guys ended up with Tyrone Taylor signing. So free agency. A reminder of what Chat's team is currently looking like. At catcher, Joe Mack was a rando filler guy. You didn't end up drafting him. You do need a catcher. You need a catcher. Like, you got some good projects in the system. You do need a catcher. I feel like that is pretty straightforward. First base, you got Vladdy. Martorella was just, or Martorella, whatever, was just a filler player. You do have Jeff Adams as backup first baseman, so you're good there. Second base, I mean, again, you need a starting catcher more than a backup second baseman. You have an okay third baseman in John Slaughter. Like, he's fine. You still have J.P. Crawford at shortstop for now. Mason was a filler. His contract's going to be up, so you're going to be letting him go. So you don't have a left fielder right now. You do have Taylor in center, Yastrzemski there, and then Soto in right. So honestly, left field and catcher are the two biggest positions of need. And then, of course, you could always use a reliever and maybe even another starter, although, to be honest, your starters are getting better. So let's take a look. In terms of catchers, that's the perfect guy. 27-year-old Francisco Alvarez. However, he's from Venezuela. Yes. However, there is also Logan O'Hoppe, the O'Hoppe at 29, who would be pretty good for you guys. Moreno. Oh, so much Venezuela. All the Venezuelan catchers. You got Diaz at 30. So maybe not the best options for you guys. Logan O'Hoppe or Yanier Diaz. Fine, succulent. You get your hand off my face. Oh, man. So we'll see what happens there. First base, you don't need anybody. But Torque is out there. Tristan Casas. Again, you don't need him. You don't have space. You got Vladdy. For the record, Logan O'Hoppe would want $21 million. Get your hands out of Venezuela. Danny Jansen was mentioned as well. He is 33. He'd only want 8. So you could look for kind of like just a filler guy like Sam Huff, who you guys signed before. Second base, Nolan Gorman. Ezekiel Duran. Nick Madrigal. Ketel Marte. Again, the other big position that you needed was left or catcher. Royce Lewis is out there at 29, though. Ooh, it is the year that Gunnar Henderson's out there. Maybe you readjust and go after Gunnar Henderson. You have a filler player there for now, but Gunnar Henderson, Anthony Volpe, and Jeremy Pena, but obviously the latter two, or the former two, are both 27. So, I mean, instead of need, because you can't get Alvarez and you'd have to give up a pick for O'Hoppe, you know, maybe you, again, Torkelson's 29. I think you guys might have to look at Gunnar Henderson. In left field, Spencer Steer, but he's 31. Jordan at 31. Jesus Christ, imagine if you... Wow, Jordan's actually declined much faster this time than he did in our last one. Alex Verdugo's there. James Outman in center field at 31. Dylan Carlson, Garrett Mitchell. And then in right, 28-year-old Riley Green. Acuna's out there too this year. Why couldn't you have been there last year? Fuck. So what do you guys think? Do you want to go for position of need with a left fielder? Do you go for position of need catcher, or do you go for someone like Gunnar Henderson? You guys have time to talk it over. For myself, 31-year-old Ronald Acuna. Oh, 31-year-old Ronald Acuna. Or 27-year-old Francisco Alvarez. Should be worth noting Gabe Moreno is out there as well at 29. What does Moreno want? 13 mil. What does Alvarez want? 30. Jesus Christ, he wants all the money. He wants all the money. Fuck. Oh, man. What does Acuna want? 27. Oh. I can't give up a draft pick for Acuna at 31 years old off the qualifying offer. That's just, or just a, yeah, it's just too damn risky. And he's declining a bit. That's pretty scary. So for me, it's pretty straightforward. But I also signed William Contreras last year, although he can play in right. Alvarez can only play catcher. Moreno is more of a utility guy. I just don't know if Alvarez is the guy worth giving $30 million to. I don't know if I can necessarily make it work long term. Like, I would have to do like the 15-year, but we've kind of agreed not to do that. It would be an 8-year deal with a club option. Front-loaded, I can't do. It takes away all my money, so it would have to be normal. And yeah, I'd have to pay him over $30 million a year. Like, he's a gold glove caliber catcher. He's not bad at the plate either. I mean, 4 straight years of at least 25 home runs. Chat also seems to want to go after catcher. Seems a little bit torn right now, but catcher seems to be the way to go. Again, Logan O'Hoppe, you'd have to give up a draft pick for him. He was very good at the plate last year for the Yankees, though. He was outrageous. But again, he's looking for about $20 million. Outside of that, it would be someone like Diaz looking for 12. Langeliers looking for 7. Tice is 33. You'd also have Luis Campazano looking for 7. If you go for an outfielder, left field is the biggest position of need. It's mostly veterans outside of Jared Kelenic, who's 29. Center field, Outman's 31, and you'd have to give up a draft pick. He wants about $23 million. Outside of that is 30-year-old Dylan Carlson, 30-year-old Garrett Mitchell, 28-year-old Alec Thomas, who wants 10. And then right is Riley Green, who wants 30 that you guys can't afford. You just can't. You could backload it. And then like Josh Lowe, who's 31. Nolan Jones is 30. So let me know what you guys think here. I still got to think about what the hell I'm going to do. We're going to take a look at pitchers as well. Tanner Scott, but he's 34 years old. Edwin Diaz at 35. Josh Hader at 35. There's no young closers. In terms of outright relievers, 29-year-old Gregory Santos available for chat. Cabrera's 32. Cano, Barlow, Nate Pearson at 32. Like the best young reliever, 30 or younger, you guys could get. Like Matt Brash is a Canadian. Best reliever you could get right now is Gregory Santos. In terms of starters, you could get Sandy Alcantara, but he's 33. Logan Webb's 32. George Kirby's 31. Hunter Brown at 30. Reagan's at 31. Glasnow's 35. Aaron Ashby at 30. You guys got some options, but it's the big question as to whether or not any of them are like the guy to spend money on. So Gunnar does have a qualifying offer on him. So does Volpe. In terms of the pitchers, is there anybody I can get? Alzolay at 34. Anybody that I can get? Alzolay is available. Alzolay, Quijada. What about for starters? Kodai Senga at his advanced age. Kodai Senga, Herman Marquez. Alzolay was 34. Senga was 36. Well, in terms of my relief option, I'm going for Adbert Alzolay as I continue to accrue my Venezuelans. Give him a 2-year deal with a club option. Bullpen. 4.7 for Alzolay. Chat, what are you thinking here? Some big questions, certainly. It's big decisions to make for both of us. God, financially, Francisco Alvarez will just kill me. He'll absolutely kill me. And I really like Acuna. But man, almost $30 million for him at 31. If I'm going to pay someone that much money, it might as well be Alvarez. I feel like I got to go for the in-between of Gabe Moreno. I'd love to get Alvarez, but man, $30 million is a killer. And Moreno has that good pop-up time to make up for the lack of a slightly weaker arm. Yeah, I'm going to be going for Gabe Moreno here on my player choice. Front load that deal, club option on the final year. Going to be about $14.8 million for Gabe Moreno for the rest of his prime. So those are my two. Gabe Moreno and Adbert Alzolay. Again, for chat, you need a catcher. O'Hop, Diaz, Langeliers. You need outfield help. Spencer Steer, Jordan. I mean, they're older. Outman's 31. Or you go for someone to build around, but he's not necessarily in a position that you need as much as those other two. You could certainly improve on J.P. Crawford, but Sposato's there. neither of those or none of the catchers are going to be available really anytime soon. And the outfield does need help as well. So, first things first, then. We'll throw it to a vote. Do you want to target a catcher? Do you want to target an outfielder? Or do you go off the board for someone like Gunnar Henderson? What do you think? Poll is live again. You might have to refresh to get it to pop up, but that poll is up as we try to figure out what chat's doing. And again, you got another big decision to make with starters as well and how much money you want to give up. You know, Alcantara is 33. He wants 14. That's not that bad. Kirby's 31. He wants 18. Hunter Brown is 30. He wants 24 million. You do got to be a little bit careful with the money. And then obviously there's some other guys that won't be as expensive further down that can fill out a roster. Or Gregory Santos as a reliever. Hockey Kid, I never vote on these. I will vote outfielder for you. There you go. Your vote has been cast. Looks like outfield's going to win. Yeah. Outfield's going to win it. So, the big question is, again, Spencer Steer's 31, Alvarez is 31, Verdugo's 32, Outman's 31. Like, do you go... I mean, Riley Green's 28, but again, he's going to be expensive as shit. You know, do you go for someone 30 or do you go for, you know, do you go for someone like Nelson Velasquez, who can at least fill the role? Alec Thomas can fill the role. Like, are any of these guys at their age the ones you want to spend the big money on? Or do you bring in like Jared Kelenic as a filler player, knowing that he's only going to cost about 10 million? You know? I mean, you could even go, you know, if you go center field, you can even go like Drew Waters for a little bit. Thomas, Steer, Alec, Kelenic. Let's take a look at him then. So Alec Thomas, again, 28 years old, would be about 10 million. It'd be about 10 million. Spencer Steer, 31 years old, would also be about 10 million. He's a bit older, though. Kelenic was mentioned a lot as well. At 29 years old, he'd cost about 10 million. So, I mean, Kelenic, you'd get more time out of. Spencer Steer, 2 years older, but he's also about as cheap and a very good utility player. So, Thomas, Steer, Kelenic. I think we'll throw it to a vote between those three for who chat wants to target. They are all about the same in terms of price. So, it's just a matter of, again, Alec Thomas being 28, Kelenic's 29, Steer is 31. So, let's see what you guys think here. Then we still got to figure out who you want as a pitcher. Still can't vote. Baltazar, who do you want? You wanted to vote for Kelenic. I can tell you right now. All right, we'll count Kelenic at 2 votes. We'll count Kelenic at 2 votes. Factoring in Baltazar and Hockey Kid, but it is 4-4 between Steer and Thomas. Now 4-4-3. It's pretty close. Steer is ahead by 1 whole vote. 99 contact against lefties for Spencer Steer. 16 home runs, 86 RBI last year. Road Warrior, first pitch hitter, unfazed. Looking like Spencer Steer is going to win this. 9-4-4, now 9-5-4 for Thomas. It looks like Spencer Steer is getting the win here, chat. It looks like he is. The tribe has spoken. Spencer Steer is getting the win. The big question is, how long do you want to sign him for? You could also front load the deal or just keep it normal. You might as well front load it. You got the money to do so. To get that max offer to be able to opt out in case he's also falling apart, that max offer is $12.7 a year. 4 years to bring him up to age 35. Club opt-out for that final year. Front-loaded deal just to try and save yourselves a little bit of money over the next couple of years after that first year. Discounting the fact that some people didn't want Spencer Steer, what do you guys think, contract-wise? You'll have him at least up to age 34. You'll have the option to keep him at age 35, depending on how he's looking. You can no longer disagree over the player, but do you disagree over the contract? 1 year, says Dimma. You could, if you're not too happy with this contract, you could also vote to 1 year it. You could. Do you commit at this point, or do you 1 year it and hope you get like a trade offer for him or something? It's your team, chat. We still got to decide what the hell you're doing pitching-wise. The thing is, pitching-wise, with this Spencer Steer contract, you're going to have to go kind of cheap. So, all right, looks like that's going to win out. So in terms of a pitcher, again, pretty much like an 80 overall or lower. You need to make sure you have some money open up later on. In terms of closers, there's nobody particularly young. You do have Matt Brash, Canadian Matt Brash. He is pretty much the only slightly younger option to maybe keep around for a bit. And he wants $4 million still. Santos, yeah, Santos was the best reliever. Yeah, like Sandy Alcantara, that's out of your price range. Any of these big-time pitchers are going to be out of the price range now. I mean, Tyler Glasnow still looking for 10, even at 35 years old. Aaron Ashby at 30. Could go for someone like Aaron Ashby. Then again, he's looking for more than that reliever. It's pretty much look for a veteran starter. Look at the top reliever or save a little bit of money. But the Santos contract, again, depending, like if you wanted to sign him up to age 35, the same option you guys typically do, that contract would be $7.2 million a year, 6 years to bring him up to age 35, opt out. That's really not that bad for Gregory Santos at an 84. Again, you don't have to do the front-loaded thing if you didn't want to, or sign him for that long. But what do you guys think about going after Gregory Santos as your pitching target? And any disagreement over your typical contract? You guys love these type of contracts with those club options. So, any disagreements? Going once on the Santos deal. Going twice on the Santos deal. All right, so chat's 2 targets. Spencer Steer and Gregory Santos. I'm going after Gabe Moreno and Adbert Alzolay. Let's see how this works out. We do have some roster stuff to do really quickly. You guys need to add Howie Elliott to your 40-man. Joe Mack wasn't yours. Conrath, Mortarella, none of those other guys were worth worrying about. Solomon was going to be let go. Tyrone Ray needs a deal. Jeff Long. None of those guys were yours. Charles O'Connor is yours. Let's see, Spasato. Mason Uhr was going to let go. Maloney. For the pitchers, Francis Menard. Ray Gutierrez. Ahmad Munoz. Peter Otto. Abraham Elias. For starters, Matthew Harmon. Juan Baroa. Howie Elliott. Avi England. You guys have drafted really well for starters. All right, so that's that. For myself, I need to add Jordan. He got much better already. Add Jordan in there. I need to add Guerrero and Carvajal. Well, this isn't mine. Diaz, Piper, Gordon. Okay, I'm good from there. Hernandez, I wasn't worried about. Mr. Comstock, Robert Oka, Lincoln Hager, Felipe Casillas at first, Edgar Sanchez, Willie Sanchez, I obviously don't care about. Frankie Reyes needs to stay. Third base, Miguel Perez, Garrett Gentry. Shortstop, Willie Castro's not mine. Sam Valley. Jason Scott's not mine. Luke Gehringer. Anthony Chow. Got Domingo Fernandez in right. Ruben Reyes. I mean, even if he is mine, like all of them, he's trash. Marvin Duarte is a closer. Am I pushing chat to make bad decisions? I'm not. I already said you guys are going to win. I personally, I don't give a shit about your team. I haven't once thought about your team. I couldn't care less what you guys do. I'm playing my own game here. We're in two different We're in two different realities, despite being in the same reality. We got two completely different things going on. Gabe Moreno has signed with the Mermen. Welcome in, Mr. Moreno. Spencer Steer takes the big deal from the A's. George Kirby, 6 years with the Rangers. As the Mermen land both Gabe Moreno and Adbert Alzolay. For chat's team, still waiting for an answer from Gregory Santos, as I have my new manager. Thankfully. Francisco Alf, Jesus Christ! It's always the Dodgers! How? It must be backloaded at $31 million a year. That's insane. It was too rich for my blood. They can do it, though. It's the fucking Dodgers. God, I hate them. God, I hate them. Sandy Alcantara. Oh, that's ridiculous. The Red Sox would never spend money on pitching. Why? They have Adley. Why not? It's the Dodgers. Hunter Brown, 5 years in Philadelphia. Cole Reagan, 6 years in Atlanta. Riley Green gets 9 years from Philly. Jesus Christ, the terms. Whew. The term being dealt out. You guys still don't have an answer there. Alex Verdugo, 2 years in Cincy. Kyle Bradish gets a year in Seattle. Santos still hasn't given an answer. James Outman gets 6 years in Minnesota. Still no answer from Santos. Brian Abreu has been traded to the Padres for Gianni Brito and Ray Gomez. Brandon Marsh traded to the Mets for Brandon Nimmo and starting pitcher Pedro Hernandez. Ronald Acuna signs a 5-year deal in San Fran. Again, he and Alvarez were just too rich for my blood. Josh Lowe, 5 years with the Cubs. Still no answer from Santos. Gunnar Henderson is still a free agent as well. The 2028 draft lottery. Chat has a 5.5% chance at the first overall pick. The Mermen are in the top 3. If there's a good player for me, it means I lose the lottery. That's how it happens. Chat falls to 8th. I swear to God, if the Rockies draft the best player in the class that I could possibly draft, I am going to fly to Colorado and pee on Coors Field. Now, I said pee instead of piss because it sounds less aggressive and that might be a crime. So I'm trying not to, give them too much to work off of. Although the subsequent explanation would then make it easy for them. I'm definitely not going to do that. I've never even been in Colorado. Yet. What? 90 overall, 99 potential Venezuelan. You shut your filthy mouth. The Rule 5 draft, which we do have to go to. Whoops. Well, I was on you. All right, well, it's It's fine. I'll skip your selections. Pretty much every year we have to do that. One of us is going to end up selecting people that have to be cut. It's fine. I now have 41 players on my 40-man roster. So cool. Who the hell did you take in the Rule 5? And can I get rid of them immediately? Let me get rid of this guy. I want to get rid of him. And Judd Fabian. Jesus Christ, it took so many people. This whole not being able to control the Rule 5 thing is consistently fucking us. You finally got an answer. Gregory Santos has accepted, so chat landed both of their targets. Royce Lewis on his way to the Astros for 6 years. Andrew Painter has been traded to the Mariners for Abraham Gonzalez and Zach Hoffman. Alex Vesia traded to the Braves for Willie Castro, a 1-for-1. Spencer Torkelson on his way to Kansas City for the next 6 years. Yanier Diaz, 4 years from the Tigers. Gunnar Henderson finally off the board, 6 years in Arizona. Damn you, Arizona. All right, so we each get our spring training signings as well. Let's take a look at who's available here for chat. Top players include Zach Wheeler, Carlos Correa, Wilmer Flores will probably finally be signed by me. Brandon Drury, the highest catcher. That does make sense. That would make sense to go with the highest rated catcher. Yeah, if you get a catcher, you'll actually have a team here. So the highest rated catcher, oh boy, well, it's an improvement regardless. Sebi Zavala, Garrett Stubbs, Jose Trevino, Carson Kelly. I mean, it's not great, but at least you got somebody. Sebi bats right, left. No switch hitters. No great options at catcher, but I mean, shit. Well, you know what? Yeah, you might as well just run Tyrone. Well, it depends on how you feel about the development of Tyrone Ray and whether or not you'd be comfortable playing him early. So if you don't go for like Sebi Zavala, again, it'd be Zach Wheeler, Carlos Correa, Brandon Drury, Matt Chapman, Brandon Woodruff, Michael Hellman, who plays everywhere but catcher, Julio Pablo Martinez, Marcus Stroman. So, I mean, you got options here on this list outside of Wilmer Flores. Or you go for the position of need and catcher, in which it wouldn't be great. It wouldn't be great, but it would be better than what you have. Any players of catcher as a secondary position. That's what I was looking at as we were scrolling through. It didn't look like it. I can check up until we run into someone like Zavala. Not looking like it. Yeah, you're not going to be able to shortcut it with a secondary position, unfortunately. Yeah, so if you go catcher with someone like Zavala or bust. What do you think, chat? Do you go for need, or do you take someone like Wheeler, Correa, Drury, or Chapman, Brandon Woodruff to help fill out the team? What do you think? Or do you go for someone like Carson Kelly, Jose Trevino, Garrett Stubbs, or Sevi Zavala? There are some shouts for Carson Kelly. Victor Caratini is a switch hitter. JT Realmuto's down there. Carson Kelly, is that the final answer for chat here? There's a shout for Caratini late as a switch hitter. At least that would bring a little bit of extra value to the lineup with your catcher being a switch hitter if they're going to be bad. He is only a 64, but Caratini then. All right. Any disagreements then on Victor Caratini for the year? Ooh, money-wise. Oh, man, money-wise, it's close. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Chad, I got to be honest, you might not be able to do this. You don't have the money. You don't have the money if you do this to be able... You can't do it. The Spencer Steer contract, I think, puts you over. You don't have the budget. It says $6 million in available budget, but I'm not seeing it there. If you go for Caratini. Max offer, projected surplus. Yeah, I don't think you guys can do it. So at that point, you might as well just throw Tyrone Ray out there and see what Tyrone can do, because you need the money to be able to sign that depth. I think you guys are kind of stuck there, unfortunately. I don't even know how much fucking money I have. Wilmer Flores, I got a little bit more. Okay. I thought for sure you guys had the money to spend. Looks like for me it's going to be Erod. Can we defer our money? If it was up to me, I'd let you. But... all right. Well, my two additions are pretty straightforward. I'm going to go for Wilmer Flores for the year. Another Venezuelan. And I'm also going to go for Erod, the former Red Sox. Eduardo Rodriguez. Yeah, that gives me the $3 million to sign the depth that I need. Okay. So it will be the typical setting stuff up, getting rid of Rule 5 players, stuff like that. So I do have a lot of roster management to do on both sides. That is going to be quite boring and quite annoying from the looks of it. So, all right, didn't lose anybody on waivers. I'll send them to the start of the regular season. So we'll handle all of that as best we can. The top prospect list will be the same, though. You guys now have the second best prospect in baseball, the closer that you drafted last year, Pedro Eliz. So I am also in the top 8 with Edmund Cervantes, the #1 overall pick. Wow. Mermen also have Charles Orozco at number 17. You guys have Sposato and England at 35 and 36. Marcus Weber makes his debut at 58, your 5th overall pick last year. Mermen got Sam Valley and Will Comstock still just hanging out. Ahmad Munoz on the list. Francis Menard on the list. Juan Baroa. Good representation for your team, to say the least. So, yeah, like I said, a lot of boring stuff to do. I'll have it pretty much all set up and ready to go next time out.